Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. It's just that easy.
It's just that easy.
I don't sound like you when I say bada bing, bada boom.
It still sounds good though.
Yeah, okay.
G'day viewers, it's Ed Fox and Lisa Smith with the Barter Bing Barter Boom podcast.
It's just that easy.
It is just that easy. Thank you, Lisa. And g'day, welcome to our guest, Cathie Howard, who is a Tradebank regional owner out of Charleston, South Carolina.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm glad to be here.
Yay, and we didn't even have to bribe her with a bologna sandwich or anything to come on the call.
That's a good thing because you just ate it.
I did just eat it, yes.
But I am super excited. My fellow female entrepreneur and Tradebank regional owner, Cathie, is here with us today. And I am wanting to ask you how you got started on this amazing journey. So share a little bit about that story with us.
Absolutely. So we're friends with another regional owner. We served together in the Army a few years ago, and it just so happened in 2019, Tradebank happened to have their barter or their broker conference here in Charleston, and our friend from the Army came into town. And before he came into town, he kind of told us what he was doing and that he was coming here for this conference and asked us to join him for dinner. So we went and we joined him for dinner, and we were able to meet Valerie Hale, who's the CEO of Tradebank, and talk to other regional owners that were there and other brokers. And we really just learned about the concept, and we thought, wow, what a great idea for small businesses. Like, this is like a no-brainer. And we figured the opportunity was there, and it was very easy to do. The doors opened very easily. And in January of 2020, we purchased the Tradebank of Charleston franchise.
How many members do you guys have there currently?
We have a little over 300 currently, and we're growing pretty rapidly. We managed to bring on 25 new members last year in spite of the coronavirus pandemic, and we're off to a great start this year. We're up to about 10 so far this year, just in the first 3 months. So 2021 is shaping out to be a really great year for us too, and kind of getting more comfortable in our own skin talking about it. We have a great rapport with all the current clients, and they're very helpful. We use them as references all the time to talk to new people about how they use their trade and the benefits that they see. So that's been very helpful too.
Cathie, now, so you were in the Army before this?
I was, yes. I served for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate that. Now, did you come from an entrepreneurial family before that?
I do. My family owns a marina up in New London, Connecticut. It's been in our family since 1881. And so my great grandfather and all the fathers and the men in the family have worked in it ever since.
So what drew you to Tradebank?
Well, what drew me to Tradebank was pretty much the concept of trade. I thought it was really fascinating, and the fact that it's organized, that you can save cash and still grow your business and get additional revenue streams. I found that whole idea fascinating, and the way that you can share it with other business owners to help. And so especially for me, like initially last year when we started, I really didn't have the concept of how trade can help you as a business owner, like looking at a P&L statement, right? And so this year, now that I've filed taxes and I saw, how much trade revenue I earned last year and how much of it I was able to expense to help my business without touching my cash in my bank account, it really makes a lot of sense, and it enables me to speak to it a lot clearer when I'm speaking to another business owner.
So Cathie, when you meet these new people, new business owners, how do you best describe barter or Tradebank to somebody that doesn't have any experience with it, doesn't know anything about how to do that?
Well, I tell them we make it very easy for them to learn. We have a trade university that we provide to clients the first Thursday of every month. And then if they can't make it, then I'll work with them offline to kind of go over the whole concept with them. But really, it's all about if you have a product or you have a service and you either have open time in your schedule that's making you $0, or if you have excess inventory that's just sitting around collecting dust, that's how we can help you. We can help you get some sort of revenue for that time or that open table at a restaurant. We can get your servers tips that they wouldn't get because the table's empty. And then we just help you save cash in other areas using those trade dollars, especially like with advertising. And a lot of the restaurants, what's good for them is the laundry service. I mean, some of them are paying thousands of dollars a month in cash out of their pocket to clean all their linens. Like, why would you do that when you could just fill some empty tables and offset that cash expense? So it's really I think it's no matter what kind of business owner you are, you have, or you know, whatever kind of business you run, I don't care who you are, you can never have too much business from anybody, from cash, from trade, whatever. You can never have too much.
That's a great point. And so I think now's a great time for them to look at barter as a way of bringing in that new foot traffic, right?
Absolutely. In other ways, it helps you build relationships with other business owners. So for example, I spoke to a pressure washing company last week, and he wants to delve into the commercial. He wants to do, you know, commercial, like kind of focus. He'll do residential too, but he really wants to just focus on commercial. And I was like, well, I have over 300 businesses that have, you know, that need to have commercial pressure washing done. So, you know, I can bring you on board and bring you all that new business that you're not going to have otherwise, because if you don't come on board, I'll find somebody else.
Right, exactly.
And I'll bring them all that business. So it's not just the buildings that they have their businesses in, but they all have houses. So really, it's over 600 structures for you to pressure wash. You know, so
that's a good point too. And what I find that not only do you have their business and their personal, but then they also have siblings or parents or whatever that need those services as well. And that if they can get them for them by spending their barter credits or their trade bank dollars instead of cash, they'll do that as well. And so it actually expands out. So if you have about 300 members, that could be up to 3,000 different people that are interacting through the trade bank system. And then we see that that spins off and brings in cash business as well, because most of us realize that word of mouth advertising it can be the best or it can be the worst, right? So, but if you're doing a good job with your business and you've got a trade bank client and they do a good job, and let's say the next door neighbor says, well, who's that? And who, you know, and you say, oh, this guy did that. And then they get some cash business because they're not in, you know, those people that they refer the business to aren't trade bank members. So that's pretty good too.
Our pressure wash guy for this area has a very similar story. He said every time I send him on a trade job in our region, he said, I'll get 5 or 6 cash jobs out of the neighborhood. He gets his signs, the little yard signs done on trade, and he does the door hangers. And he said, you know, once one person has this amazing clean driveway or roof, he said everybody in the neighborhood will look at that and, you know, they'll think, oh, I need to get mine done too. So yeah, I love those kind of stories.
Yeah, it's great. And then, I mean, people in my neighborhood, they kind of know what we do. So now if they ever need anything, you know, I've got like 5 or 6 of my neighborhood friends that are like, hey, I need a photographer. Hey, I need someone to come and do some handyman work. Hey, I need pressure washing. And so who do I refer them? I refer them to clients that are in Trade Bank, but they're not, my friends aren't Trade Bank members. They don't own businesses, but they own homes. And so they need help. And so I just refer them that way too. So brings them a lot of new business, both trade
Hats off to you. You're training them well. Very good.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Cathie, tell me your favorite so far in the year that you've been, a little over a year that you've been with Trade Bank. What's your personal favorite Trade Bank story?
So my personal favorite Trade Bank story is kind of interesting. So we have a publisher, a magazine publisher, and they do a best of Mount Pleasant where we live. And when we first closed on we bought the franchise in January of 2020. And then in February of 2020, we went to this best of Mount Pleasant party with this pretty significant publisher of the magazine. And we had never met him before. And he was very, he wasn't standoffish, but he was curious as to why two military members who seemed to be like, so like, by the book would want to run, want to be an entrepreneur and buy a company and, run their own business and in trade. And so he was, he was just it was a little bit of an awkward conversation for Rob and I, because we were like, wow, that's weird. Usually people are like, oh, hey, you're the new owner. And I was like, why did you want to do this? And so anyway, but then he said he needed an electrician. He was like, I have to get my building rewired. It's not up to code. And he runs his magazine out of a little house that's, it's kind of older. And so it needed new wiring. And so I went out, and it just so happened the first electric company that I spoke with, they were a great group of guys. They totally understood the whole trade barter process, and they jumped right on board, and I was able to get them to do his building. And he was like, did you bring them in just for me? And I was like, of course I did. That's how it's supposed to work. Like, you tell me what you need and I go and get it for you. And now you're able to use your trade. And so not only for him, but an electric company was a great, they're a great win, and they're a great company to have in Tradebank. And they're doing a lot for all of our restaurants and a lot of our members. So
that's awesome.
Definitely.
Yeah, I love stories like that, when you can bring somebody in that can solve a problem for another member that we something that we don't currently have. And that's, I think, one of the best ways that Tradebank grows its network, is asking for those referrals or going out and finding those things by asking our members, hey, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? What can we bring you? And so that's a great way. And the great thing for everybody listening to remember, if you're looking for a particular item and you don't see it in your region, then ask your regional owner to go out and get it. It's not going to come off all the time.
Right. And Lisa, you were a huge help to me. I was looking for the underground dog fence person, and you have the invisible fence guy. Is it Trey? Is that his name?
Troy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Troy, and he was really nice. So I called him up and I talked to him, and I found out how he best used it and what he liked the best about being in trade. And then I used that when I talked to other invisible fence companies, and it worked, and it was great. And so that's kind of how it's nice to have other regional owners that you can reach out to, and other members who might be in the field that you're trying to bring in to kind of get examples for how they best use their trade that will resonate with the people here that do the same thing.
That's very true. Very true. And that's been very important for me here in Huntsville as well, being able to have people like you and people like Ed and other regional owners that are really on their A game. And do talk to their members a lot. I know that you do. From your members' perspective, what do you think is like their top 3 things that they like to spend their trade dollars on? Are there things that you go looking for in particular for your region that you know that they're just going to love?
I do. Restaurants for sure, because Charleston is such a foodie town. So everybody likes to go out to eat and likes to be able to use their trade dollars. And then I would definitely say advertising is big here too. A lot of people like to use their trade dollars here for advertising. So I'm always reaching out to other advertising companies. We have quite a bit already, but there's always room for more. People are always wanting to advertise. So restaurants, advertising, and then I would definitely say like services for your house, whether it's painting, plumbing, pressure washer, landscaping, cleaners, all of that stuff, exterminators, all of that stuff is always at the top of the list. And so we can never have too many of businesses who do all that, because we just have so many people. We can divvy out something to everybody. Well, I don't know about every company, but a lot of it, we could definitely help them get a few more customers every month. So that would be the top things here.
Yeah, same here.
Do you have a personal barter story that you like that maybe is involved you or your family, Cathie?
have two high maintenance dogs. They're golden doodles, and they're both around 70 pounds a piece. And so I used to spend $200 every 8 weeks at the PetSmart to get them groomed. And so it resonates really well when people are like, well, I can't use trade to pay my grocery bill. But then I'm like, well, yes, you can, because now I take that $200 and now I have trade, and I'm able to use $200 to trade to get my dogs groomed every 2 months. That's $200 that I can use to put towards my electric bill, or $200 in cash I can use to get groceries or whatever, pay the water bill. So it's all just about creative trading, but like, that's what I like best about it too, is it's, I can spend cash, I can spend trade, I can spend Bitcoin. You give me something, I'll figure out a way to spend it. And so I can use that, my experiences, to also, help Tradebank members when they're like, well, I don't know how to spend it and how to use it. But once you kind of explain it to them and kind of get them going, and I think Charleston is getting to a really good place where people are really starting to be active and realizing that, things are good and, growing, and people are open to trading, and it's really moving in the right direction. I'm very excited.
Well, they definitely have the right leaders in place in Charleston. I will say that. So no wonder that it is growing the way that it is, because I know you are leading the charge.
I'm trying. It's fun though. I'm having a great time. I really love what I'm doing out here, and it's just a great concept. It's a great system. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy telling people about it. And even if they decide not to join, I just think giving them that knowledge that this is an option for you. Maybe not today, but maybe next year you'll find yourself in a rough patch and be able to reach out and be like, hey, can you help me? And we'll be here for you.
Yeah, and I found, like, I was reading a story today that, did you know that in the 1980s, Pepsi bartered $3 billion worth of Pepsi with Russia? Do you know what they got for that? 17 warships, 17 submarines, a frigate, and a cruiser. They bartered $3 billion worth of Pepsi for these surplus decommissioned naval ships. And then they, in turn, just like we teach our members to turn their trade dollars into cash, they in turn took those ships and sold them to a Swedish scrap dealer that recycled them for the steel. And so Pepsi got paid cash for those 17 submarines, frigate, and destroyer. I'm like, people go, oh, I don't think, big companies don't barter. Oh, yes, they do. Big companies barter, little companies barter. We all barter backwards and forwards. I don't know about your kids, but my kids try and barter all the time before we even did Tradebank. Like, oh, mom and dad, if I wash the dishes, can I go out tonight? Well, that's a barter. People have challenges with this barter concept, but we're doing it all the time. We don't realize how much we barter.
Right. It's all about, I would say, we're more business consultants rather than sales people. We kind of come alongside business owners and kind of just show them some simple places on their P&L where they're spending cash on expenses that they could keep in their pocket and use it to expand and grow their business elsewhere by just, trading out some simple things.
Yeah, exactly. For a member that maybe has been in Tradebank for a while, and one of the most common things the three of us hear, of course, is, oh, I can't spend my Tradebank dollars. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, I can't keep my Tradebank dollars, right? I don't know about you guys, but I run through them with my kids so fast. What would you say to that person that says they don't know how to spend their Tradebank dollars? How can they solve that problem?
I say that the first way they can solve that problem is to contact their broker and establish that relationship with their broker. And the communication is the key. Like, we can't help you if we don't know that you have a particular problem. And so for most business owners, I find if you want to be successful with trade in whatever trade network you're in, preferably with Tradebank, you have got to make it your business to know that part of your business. You can't delegate it to your office manager or to your receptionist or your secretary, because they're not paying the bills, right? So they don't see the P&L. They're not writing the checks for expenses. They're not writing the check for your website management. They're not writing the check for your computer network management. They're not writing the checks for the exterminator and the pressure washing and all the other stuff that goes into your building, your office. So you have to make it a point and then sit down with your broker and say, hey, and look at your mytradebank.com and see what's available. I mean, we have almost 200 businesses listed out there on our website. And I know there's got to be at least at least 3 things any business owner in this area could use on there.
And you're talking about 200 businesses just in your local area.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about nationwide. We have like 4,500 businesses, over 100,000 products and services nationwide available through the Tradebank Network. So yeah, you're exactly right. Lisa, did you want to add anything? I almost like to ask you that question too. If a client isn't spending their trade dollars and they're not quite sure how to use the Tradebank Network, do you have any additional advice to what Cathie was saying?
Oh, the same as Cathie. I just sit down and we talk about what they're spending cash on. If I know them well enough to joke with them and they say that they're Confederate dollars or they can't spend them, I say, you can transfer them over into my account. I got this for you. I can cover this for you. We're okay.
For sure.
No, all jokes aside, it's usually pretty easy to find those 2 or 3 expenses usually in the first 5 or 6 sentences in conversating with them. Do you buy printing? What is your advertising budget? Are you paying now cash to have your office cleaned? Do you need your carpets cleaned? Pressure washing is a huge thing right now in our area this time of year. So yeah, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, and one of the things I found as a client, I was looking locally for some stuff that I could have got done anywhere in the nation, like social media management, business coaching. I even did an online session with a therapist where I did some rapid transformation therapy that helped me with a couple of issues, and I got that on Trade.
Cathie, thank you so much for being here with us on the podcast. We really appreciate it this week and sharing your wisdom and a little bit about your amazing members there in Charleston.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome. And for all of those of you that are listening out there and trying to decide if you want to do trade or not, get educated before you make the decision. Don't automatically stiff arm us because you don't know the details. Find out the details first so you can make an educated decision for you and your business.
That's good advice. And that's good advice for a lot of things, right? We as business owners are all busy. And so when we normally meet with people and we're trying to make a decision, we say, "I'll come back to me in a week." The trouble is we just let it go on our desk and pile up 100 things on top of it. We're better off just making the decision. And I think sometimes people are afraid to say no, or they're afraid to say yes. But I love the fact that Tradebank has a 1-year money back guarantee. So like they can't lose. That's what got me, was when he said, look, I said, I trust you, John. I just don't trust your product. And I said, but if you're giving me a year money back guarantee, yeah, let's do it. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. It's just that easy.
It's just that easy.
I don't sound like you when I say bada bing, bada boom.
It still sounds good though.
Yeah, okay.